Happy holidays! Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a Happy Holiday.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, holiday time is here. That's right. We're talking about 2005's The Amityville Horror on Kill by Kill. Well, greetings and salutations, Internet. It's your old pal, Patrick Hamilton, coming to you once again from Amityville, New York. This is the Kill by Kill podcast, where we're dedicated to celebrating the least discussed component of any horror film, the characters. And of course, today we're going to unpack all the goriest details of 2005's The Amityville Horror remake, in the hopes that a DeFeo family member's untimely end is just the beginning of the jokes we might make at their expense. As always, there's only one person I trust to walk along the roof. So, I'm sorry, let me tell you that again. There's only one person I trust to walk me along the roof so I can talk to Daddy again. The one, the only, Gina Radcliffe. How are you doing today, Gina?
More like Crappityville Snorer, am I right?
Gina, somehow we have managed to find a way to talk about this movie on its 20th anniversary, which absolutely no one on earth is celebrating.
You telling me that's the first I've heard.
I mean, I honestly,
this was a Thanksgiving movie?
No, I mean, it's in the sense that it came out in 2005, I think in fall, and we're talking about it in 2025. So
okay.
It's not exactly on the date it was.
Okay. I thought you were literally meant that like this is the day it came out 20 years ago.
I mean, prove me wrong. Who could possibly fucking care? And to a certain degree, we had decided amongst the two of us that maybe Amityville for the holidays was something that we did and didn't have to do again, because our two favorite films in the franchise, 2 and 3, we talked about before we established this dumb tradition, as it were, that I don't know that's really caught on. Let's put it that way. I mean,
we did have fun talking about the one with the haunted lamp. I actually just re-listened to that episode recently. That was we were clearly having a lot of fun with that.
I think it was fun, but also it's one of those culty things that I think you have to see a little bit to enjoy our take on it. And I don't know that it's everyone's need or desire at any moment in time, although I think that's a really fun watch. It's just truly ridiculous. But this one was a genuine hit at the time.
Oh yeah, it was this and the original are the only ones in this entire almost 50-year-long franchise that has made a profit.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, just to set this table for people once again, the original Amityville Horror was released in the dead of summer in July of 1979. And if you see a list that claims, Superman was the top grossing film of that year, that is a lie. That was released in December of 1978. The actual 1978 box office game was Kramer versus Kramer, which earned a remarkable over $100 million. Can you imagine a divorce drama earning $100 fucking mil at the box office currently? But Amityville was number 2 with a fucking bullet. Like, to put this in context, it outpaced Rocky 2 in box office earnings.
It was for, I believe, for almost decades, the most successful independent horror film of all time.
Yeah,
I think it was eventually beaten out by Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, I think that because there was like a Warner. I mean, it's somewhat in dispute because it was independently produced, but then it was picked up as a negative pickup by Warner Brothers. So again, there seems to be like a weird box office reporting problem on the internet in terms of 1978 in particular. It just, everything seems a little bit unreliable, but you're absolutely right. Like just whatever the formula was, it made a shit ton of money. So of course, the monkey die and the people cry. Dino De Laurentiis picks up the torch and he produces that second sequel. And it does demonstrably worse. It made $12.5 million on a $5 million budget. Primarily, it would only cost that much because all of the interiors were filmed in Mexico. And then to make sure that all that work didn't go to waste, they filmed Amityville 3D, The Demon, also in Mexico. But that only recouped its $6 million production budget. So from that moment on, the realm of Amityville sequels, and we'll put that in dick fingers, becomes the realm of direct-to-video films, aka that weird lamp one that we watched.
Well, here's the thing, like, and I've mentioned this before, you can't copyright Amityville,
right?
It's the name of a town, so you could like release your Christmas video, your Christmas home movies, and put it as Christmas in Amityville. And you're not going to most of them after a certain aren't even connected to each other.
No, they're not. I mean, only the 7 movies between this remake and the original try to barely connect things where it becomes this with the lamp and a clock.
Like the house literally blows up at the end of part 3.
And then they have that yard sale and the lamp.
The yard sale.
Oh my God. A fucking yard sale.
Amityville yard sale.
Amityville yard sale. And so, yeah, like the last one, Dollhouse, was released in 1997. And just to give context, like that is essentially the year that Scream changes horror because it's released late 96. And it makes so much money that it extends its life into 1997. And then they release Scream 2. So, and I Know What You Did Last Summer. So what people were looking for in the horror vein changed entirely. So when this happens in 2005, it is very much led by a remake boom. And it's not like we're coming at this saying that Amityville Horror is some kind of fucking sacred ground. And it certainly didn't intimidate anybody else. It's just now we think of it as a vat of slop because no one can copyright Amityville. But it was hardly on solid ground by the time this happens in 2005.
Right.
Production in terms of this is they initially make an announcement. MGM kind of has the rights to it because that's where the home video rights for the original landed. And I think they inherited at some point the Dino De Laurentiis library. That might have been part of it. I'm not sure. No one has that much information on this bullshit. But MGM claimed that the remake was, quote, based on new information uncovered during research of the original events. And this was news to the OG George Lutz. And of course, by OG, I mean original grifter.
I was going to say, yeah. The king, baby.
Lutz claimed nobody ever spoke to him or his family about this new project. So Lutz sicked his attorney on MGM about the remake and even sent multiple letters. But MGM and Dimension Films, which was co-producing here, froze him out. And in June of 2004, MGM filed a motion for delegatory relief in federal court, asserting that it's right to remake the film. Lutz countersued, citing violations of the original contract, but the case remained unresolved until George Lutz died in May of 2006, and everyone else decided who could possibly fucking care, which is interesting because, as we noted, this film made a tidy profit.
It sure did. It sure did.
It was completed for under $20 million. It grossed $65 million in the States, another 40 plus overseas. It is actually similar to what the Platinum Dunes New Line Cinema version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre did just 2 years previously, which like kind of kicks off the whole horror remake fueled aughts. That said, when this movie starts with the quote, based on a true story, well, it's based on a story.
Oh, well, that definitely the big marketing push is that this was more accurate to what actually happened than the 79 version. And I'm like, how could you make that claim?
How could you possibly make that claim when the claims in and of themselves, starting in Jay Anson's book, are all bullshit? How can this be any truer than that? But
this is sort of like this is like Go Ask Alice. Now, you younger folks in the audience might not be aware of a book called Go Ask Alice, but it was a big part of Patrick's and my and people our age's youth, in that it was purported to be the true diary of a teenage girl who died of a drug overdose. And it was very scary and very much a cautionary tale for the just say no era. And then it turned out that it was completely made up. It was not a real diary. It was written by a middle-aged Mormon woman who wrote a bunch of stories about teenagers getting into trouble and, usually ending up either, dead or sufficiently chastened. I'm very fascinated by this story. So, but it is still sold as a quote unquote true story. And I think you've got this sort of clumsy way of doing it, and then you've got the clever way of doing it, which is how Fargo did it. Yeah. Which Fargo, up front said this is a true story. We'll actually say, no, it isn't a true story.
Right. Yeah.
It is at best loosely based, very loosely based on someone being murdered and being put through a wood chipper. Yeah. Everything else was completely made up for the movie.
And the other component of this that goes along with this sort of vein is Michelle remembers.
Oh, yikes.
Which, if you haven't listened to the Satanic Panic podcast that's coming out right now through the CBC, I cannot recommend it enough. It is fucking fantastic. But the episode 2 goes in deeply into Michelle Remembers, which is another just wackadoo bullshit story. And based on I feel like where the themes of the show often sort of cascade into one another. And coming off the last one, we were wondering, why was the 70s so full of this? But this is another version of the 70s is full of this. And then in 2005, they're like, what's another way to revive this bullshit? And they thought of this. It is so wild how they present it, because I think this movie, I don't know what its original intentions were, but I have the feeling that what we're presented with is a much altered version, not just of the events as told, but the events of what the intention was of the motion picture. There's just too many editing tricks going on at all times in the storytelling of this film.
Yeah, I if you want to talk about what aspects of it are true, is that some people were murdered in a house. Yeah. Other people bought the house and then less than a month later moved out.
Yeah, they did not want to pay.
Those are the parts of the story that everybody that can be confirmed as true.
Yes. They left before the first payment was due, is what it comes down to, whether or not they could ever afford it in the first place. And so not only are we treated to a retread of George Kathy's supposed story, but for my money's worth, I prefer Amityville 2's bullshit depiction of the DeFeo events as they unfold in an absolutely ridiculous fucking ways without deep, soulful I love yous between murderous siblings here.
And nightclub strobe light.
It just, again, why would you Why would you present it in this manner?
I have never seen a thunderstorm look like that.
Right.
And I have been through some, I've seen some bangers of thunderstorms. I have never seen there should be music in the background.
It's like the beginning of Blade, only it's a brother executing the rest of his family.
It's like a thunderstorm in the suburbs.
This movie makes 13 Ghosts look like the 1963 version of The Haunting.
Oh my God.
And I like 13 Ghosts. You watch 13 Ghosts and you're like, holy shit, that looks like $1 million. And then this, every corny, flashy editing trick, it's just shoving this stuff in your eyeballs.
We got that green filter on things again, Patrick. Why was why was horror so green in the early 2000s?
I think The Ring poisoned a generation. I mean, on top of that, the amount of editorial choices going on here are criminal. I mean, what hath Seven wrought? And when I say that, I don't mean the actual film Seven.
I mean style.
The opening credits of Seven.
That everything is covered in a layer of grime.
Right. And that's not to say that you can't do that necessarily. It's that they don't trust even that. They don't trust the performances. They don't trust the plot. They don't trust the story. They don't trust the characters. Everything is just being jammed as hard as it can for all 90 minutes of the film. And then weirdly enough, it's filled with too many things, but not enough story.
It's like, well, we want to make this, different. Why don't we throw in more child abuse?
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know that we needed that.
This really doubles down on George was never a good parent, which is kind of true because they are essentially newlyweds. Like this is a very awkward stage in any blended family sort of relationship. But also, I don't think it's helped by the fact that they've cast Ryan Reynolds in this particular role.
Yeah, no, it's weird seeing him try to be serious.
Yeah.
Like he's very believable as the goofy, desperately to be liked stepdad.
Yeah.
But when he starts glowering and pushing the kids around, it's like, no, I don't buy it. That's the weird thing because it's not like, oh, Ryan Reynolds isn't a good actor. I'm not going to engage in that shit. He's perfectly good at what he does well, and he can stretch. He has given better performances than this. That can be said, but he is. At this particular moment in time, he is still the copy of Chevy Chase. He is just, this is a cadence I've learned, and based on my face, I can get away with saying this stuff in this sarcastic manner, and it works. And it's not to say that he can't be used well or effectively in any film. Obviously, he can. But at the specific moment, and he's in that 2000s mode where he assumes that he is, I think, attempting to broaden what he can be. And sadly, whether or not he actually achieved it on set, I don't know, because the end product is an abject failure. And he and nearly everyone else in the film is just left out in the cold. This is just, they are abandoned on screen. This thing is a ghost ship. Well, yeah, I mean, the most in rewatching it, because for this was the second time I'd seen it, mm-hmm. and I didn't even realize the second time around they almost completely gut the "we can't afford this" aspect.
Oh, yeah.
They mention it once.
Yes.
When they're about to buy the house.
Yeah.
Whereas in the original movie, one of the things that makes the original somewhat effective is, the desperation of their situation.
Right.
Is they have put every penny into this house.
Yeah.
and have nothing to spare. It's a huge aspect of the book where George immediately starts getting sick because something in the house is making him sick, and he can't work, and it immediately puts them in a precarious financial situation. Here, it's not even mentioned.
No.
Once they buy the house, it's like, all right, well, I guess we got that figured out.
Yeah, I think they weirdly enough try to insert one pressure into another. So, as you mentioned, like Melissa George's Kathy, when they see the house and when they go through the tour with the realtor who refers to like, this town has a vibrant history. I mean, that's one way to put it.
Oh, I got another. Yeah, I get to go on my little rant that I always do in these situations in a minute, but go ahead and finish what you're saying.
So, but they have this little scene in the hallway and in the anteroom of the house where Kathy all of a sudden becomes the status-driven source of the purchase, which, based on everything we know from actual events, was the opposite of the truth. And then she pumps the brakes, and then she hits the gas. And it's doing everything it can to subtly absolve George Lutz of his very real avarice. And I don't know what the purpose of that move is. Is like, no. She really wanted to get into this house, and he's the one who's saying, no, honey, this is irresponsible. It's like, why? Why is Kathy being run under the bus here? And why did George Lutz want to possibly stop this narrative from coming forward? It makes him look like a fucking gem.
Like when he starts like threatening the kids and becoming very volatile, like she does not seem to there's like no reason for her to stay.
Yeah.
There's no reason for her to continue putting up with this bizarre behavior.
Yes.
Because at least in the original, it's okay. They can't leave because they'll be wiped out. They'll be completely wiped out.
But the financial pressure thing is eliminated from
it's just so vague. And it's like, well, I mean, is it just going to, cost them a lot of money, or are they going to be flat broke? Because that's two different things.
Yeah. Whereas in this setup, I think the screenwriter here thought I have a hook that I think makes more sense for the time, and I'm not mining the same territory, i.e. George is not only battling the ghost in the house, but the ghost of Kathy's dead husband and these kids' dad. And sadly, the film tends to abandon that narrative for long stretches of time. He's simply an asshole that they can't escape. So it just makes these moments end up feeling trite and not as connected to the driver of the original book and the original film, which again, is okay-ish, but is hardly like a tome you can't possibly fuck with. I just don't think this version of the events makes the story any more interesting or better. And it leaves all the characters looking like absolute nincompoops.
They eliminate also the most memorable aspects of the original. Like, yes, there is a priest, but he's barely there.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't show up until like 3/4 of the way into the movie when things have already started going to hell.
Yeah.
And you know what? No vomiting, none.
Yes, exactly. Well, one of the wonderful undercurrents of that original film is sort of a spiritual answer to The Exorcist, where Catholic priests are presented as troubled and layered, but they do have the answers because they have the power of God on their side. And so they are able to, battle the devil, and they're so noble, they'll even take the devil off your hands and tumble down the stairs. Whereas in the Amityville Horror, every time someone vaguely religious shows up, they puke and run away. And the priest in that's like, you know what? I just got to live by a river. I'm just going to sit at a park bench, baby.
It's like, I broke out in a rash. I can't help you.
Listen, I don't like that house. It makes my tummy irpy. And
here, like the only person other than them that comes into the house is this babysitter who's dressed like she just got off a shift to the Pink Pony Club.
Yes, that is a wild fucking series of events, because to a certain degree, I do feel like that character is the most aligned with what the film actually is, because it's got not your daddy's syndrome, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Which is, I think, you know what? You absolutely nail what my problem is or was with early 2000s remakes.
Yeah.
Is just a sort of, yeah, that's that's old and boring. This is like new and modern. It's just like, but why though?
Right. I mean, it's fine. It's different, but that different isn't necessarily better. And there's a lot of that throughout this film.
Like why do we have this like 18-year-old babysitter who looks 25 flirting with a 12-year-old?
Who has the largest collection of Kiss t-shirts I've ever seen in my life.
And then terrorizing them with the story of, oh, these kids were murdered in your bed?
Yeah. It's
which is another thing they didn't establish, that they left all the furniture behind. Because you know what? There was no furniture in those rooms when they were looking in the house before.
Right. Exactly. So where was it all down? So they called it all up from the basement? I don't know. That's one of the aspects they just kind of leave behind from the original thing. Not that you have to include every aspect, but when that's part of the allure of the house in the original movie is they can't afford to move into a house that big. They couldn't possibly they don't have the furniture to house everything. And they're like, oh, no, because you get to have all this furniture too. You get everything that's in here. And they're like, oh, okay. It actually makes it seem like, oh, this is doable because we don't have to buy all this furniture. Why not? So they just leave that stuff behind because the financial component of it no longer has a big factor in their staying, leaving, or anything else. It's just abandoned.
No. It's like, what are the stakes here?
Yeah.
Why is she not, taking her kids and running?
That is a really, really good question.
Why is she not taking this child to a psychiatrist and she's climbed up on the roof and says, I want to see daddy?
Yes. There's just these weird little 2000s hacks that we've left behind in the dustbin of history. We need to show that this family is semi-happy. Let's do it through 8mm home movies. That's what the Amityville Horror needed, was more jangly pop tunes. This is, show me a scene where people talk to one another. And I genuinely get the sense that at this moment in time, while there's tension, everyone is hoping that this new house is what solidifies them as a family. And the movie just says, what if it was a silent MOS montage? Okay, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Again, another little weird tension move that in the original is drawn out a little bit more, which is George and Kathy keep getting interrupted when they want to fuck. And so this one bathes it in blue moonlight and she climbs on top of him and he's so sexy with those cum gutters. And then all of a sudden, this is where George and I align. I am not turned on by the vision of hung children. No. That's a real turnoff for me. But also, why is Jody being hung? Jody was never... Who is hung? What is going on here? Why is Jody's ghost able to do everything? And this movie, weirdly enough, has Frighteners problems. Where it's like these ghosts, the ghosts are fighting instead of the girls. Is Jody evil or not? Is Jody under the control of this other ghost? Are they both under the control of all the ghosts in the murder basement?
Well, they're trying so many things. As soon as they brought this catch him and kill him thing, I was like, oh fuck you, movie.
Again, it's got Frighteners disease. It is literally picking up threads of a movie that is making fun of the Amityville Horror.
The ghosts are being tormented by other ghosts.
Right. Yes. Which ghosts are in charge? And now I'm worrying about the hierarchy of the Costa Nostra of ghosts inside this fucking house. And who could possibly care? Is the house haunted? Is it just occupying ghosts? This house never feels evil. The house only is occupied by a bunch of unemployed spirits.
They drop so much of what the original, what was actually effective in the original for, just for, jump scared. Like, you don't have the thing where like George keeps waking up at the same time, every night. And it turns out that it's the time that the shootings happened.
Yeah.
You don't have I think this was more in the book, but it always sounds pretty scary when like he just hears like what sounds like a marching band.
Right. Yeah.
And the door gets torn, the front door gets torn off the hinges. Here we get like, one shot of like the windows opening by themselves.
But it also tells you from the beginning that 3:15 is when he shot the family. So there's no mystery to why it keeps happening. And
that turns out to be irrelevant anyway.
Right. It doesn't matter.
The main thing that seems to be affecting George's sanity is that he's cold.
He's cold. But
he's cold all the time.
I have an alternative theory.
He's not going without sleep, which James Brolin did very effectively. He looked like Charles Manson after a certain point. Yes. But that is also accurate because going without sleep will drive you fucking insane after a while.
And this movie can't quite bring itself to make Ryan Reynolds look that bad. So they try this maneuver where they put the contact lenses in to kind of give him semi-demon eyes. And it just makes him look like a Star Trek alien. A handsome Star Trek alien.
Yeah, they don't want the audience to think him monstrous.
And that's an issue. That's what you're supposed to be scared of.
Even though he literally murders the family pet.
Right. Yes. But whomst among us can't tell the difference between a ghost girl and a bathroom golem and your dog. But that's like kind of happens, and then he just wanders around with haunted eyes, like, "Oops, I made a mistake."
Shivers and puts on a sweater.
Right. I do have an alternate theory as to why all of this takes place. That's never mentioned in the original, but this film, oddly enough, makes several visual mentions to, and that is all this a mass hallucination caused by black mold? There's a lot of it. There's a lot of it on display. There is a lot of,
but you know what? But that's all there is. Like we get no room full of flies.
Yeah.
We get no mysterious hidden room. Well, we kind of do, but it's more like a hallucination.
Yeah.
Like John Ketchum's indigenous kill floor.
Oh my God. Like what? I mean, first of all, to build a cinder block basement in the 1600s, good for you. I mean, that shows a real industriousness that I do not possess. But I think because this movie is weirdly enough so rushed, like I timed it. It takes exactly 20 minutes for Ryan Reynolds to go insane. There's an hour and 10 minutes left in this movie, and he is instantly threatening children, obsessed with wood chopping, can't keep a shirt on, can't go to sleep, too fucking cold. And that takes at least 35 minutes in the original, which felt slow as fuck, but at least attempted to build character and atmosphere. This kind of feels like the State Fair dark ride of the Amityville Horror rather than the Amityville Horror.
You're basically like everybody in the house is having their own weird incidents. Nobody's talking to each other.
Right. Yeah.
Like the kids aren't even saying anything about it. Like you would think that what's that younger boy about 8?
Oh,
and he's like, seeing spooky things while he's going in the bathroom. He's not going to say anything about it to anybody.
Right. I would also say, just for the record, do not look up information about Jimmy Bennett, the actor who played the characters.
Patrick! You read my mind. I saw it. I was like, oh,
yeah. I mean, I feel bad just bringing it. It feels exploitative because I honestly don't know what the truth is there. So I feel like no authority to talk about it. That this is a real do your own research situation for people.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, he's alive and presumably well,
right. But
it's a Me Too sitch. But it's sort of like, I don't know. Just look it up.
I truly don't know. All I'll say is that for his character at this age, This youngest Lutz is burdened with the dumbest head of hair the side of Las Vegas Raiders owner Mark Davis. It is exceptionally puffy with no rhyme or reason to it. His hair just knows what it wants to do, and that's go insane.
Like the little girl, which is Chloe Grace Moretz, which is probably the most interesting thing about this movie. Is that this is her debut. She's fine. She's like a fetus.
Right, yeah, I'm like the only thing auspicious about it is that she got work again, and thank goodness, because she did turn in good performances after this. But this is fucking weird.
Well, the thing is that, like, you know, she's immediately going to, like, you spooky kid mode, like just zoning out, staring at nothing, talking to herself, and nobody does a goddamn thing about it.
Right. They never, should we talk to a specialist? Should we talk to anybody?
She's like, Melissa George is like, well, why'd you do that, honey? Well, Jody told me to. Oh, okay. Jody told you to. Well, Jody told you to climb out on the roof of the house.
Yeah.
I would be like, pissing myself.
Right. I think you would leave right at that moment. Like,
that's when you scoop the child up and you take her to an emergency room and say, I need a psychiatrist to do an assessment of this child because she is trying to hurt herself.
Right. But the movie doesn't have time for anything that a real person would do.
No, because we got to get to the next jump scare.
Right. It's just like 25 minutes into this, the walls are bleeding. 25 minutes. And it's like bleeding walls, a bathroom golem. It's got it all. Then it inserts Pennywise's balloon into this for no particular reason. I'm like, how does she have a helium fucking balloon? Why is the helium balloon constantly filled? Like at a certain point, how many days into this has this helium balloon been aloft? And it doesn't signify anything. It's just a movie reference. But it doesn't, it adds nothing. And then Ryan Reynolds is so fucking jacked in this movie, Gina.
It's so funny. It's so funny. He's just going around walking with his low slung pajama bottoms.
Right. I assume that he came directly off the set of Blade 3 onto this. Or it's the opposite. He's getting thoroughly jacked for Blade 3. I can't tell you which one those. I'm not going to look it up because who could possibly care? But it's around the same time frame. But he looks so ridiculous. He looks like he should be main eventing at SummerSlam, Gina. He looks like he does pull-ups wrong and likes to brag about it online.
It's like, just a typical suburban contractor or whatever the hell he's supposed to do for a living.
He looks like he sells liver pills on TikTok. He's that fucking jacked.
He looks like he should be like standing in a grocery store and yelling about seed oil. Fucking nailed it, Gina. My line was he looks like he's complaining about Costco rotisserie chicken being in a plastic bag. Same thing, same guy. He looks like he takes a lot of solo flights to Romania and his checked luggage is filled with nothing but protein powder. It's just not a guy in the 70s. No guy in the 70s looked like this. Like Lou Ferrigno didn't look like this. Yeah, everybody, look at a picture of your dad from the early 70s. I assure you, he did not have an 8-pack.
Yes. It's just, the guy has 5% fat. And it just doesn't make any goddamn sense. It's not that he doesn't, technically look like a GQ model or whatever. You just don't need that. And it becomes so distracting. And then I don't know where you watched it. I watched it on HBO Max, which apparently
I watched it on HBO Max.
The algorithm for me had quite a sense of humor because all of my commercials were for Lowe's Home Improvement Store and K Jewelers, because there's nothing I like to do after watching this movie than home improvement and getting married.
Well, you're watching a movie about a family moving into a new house.
Yeah. I guess.
But yeah, like moving into a new house, I was saying I had a minor rant.
Please.
And this plays into my, that was a long time ago. We just, we're either, going to act like we don't know, we never heard about it, or we don't know anything about it, just whatever the plot dictates. So the movie opens with the Feo murders, which was 1974. The Lutzes move in a year later. The real estate lady just kind of let clues them in. Oh, by the way, there's a family murdered here. That's why the house is so cheap. But we're just putting that all behind that now. Yeah. That murder that happened a year ago.
The town's doing great.
That's all in the past. We just don't talk about it anymore. The murder of 4 children by their brother.
Yeah, and the parents, they might have been mob affiliated. None of that is brought up at all. It's just kind of a thing that is used for
we are
a
just
cold
desperate.
open.
We are just desperate to sell this fucking house.
And then Ryan Reynolds has that line where he goes, "Well, houses don't kill people. People kill people." And you're kind of like, I know that sounded good on paper, but we could have given that another rewrite. And it's like the screenwriter here, it doesn't suck. Like, he's written good things, and I don't know what happened here. In my mind, this film feels like it was fucked over by studio pressure. You can just feel the mealy sexual assault hands of Dimension Films all over this, because this movie made over $100 million, and yet the director never makes a major motion picture ever again.
Oh, wow.
He just, I assume, had such a terrible experience with this that he's just basically chased out of this kind of directing. He's made documentaries since, and commercials and music videos, and he directs things. He doesn't direct movies, narrative movies. He made like one other in 2013. So I feel like this was taken out of his hands, and they just did everything they could to make it something. And they just kept pressing the "not your daddy's" button, not your daddy's button, not your daddy's button, to the point where you're kind of like, I don't care about any of these people. It doesn't matter if Ryan Reynolds gave the best layered performance of all time. You would never see it based on how it is edited together.
Yeah, and I think the best in terms of the "not your daddy's" button, which is a really great way of putting it. You can compare 2 scenes. And these are the scenes, again, to bring up the babysitter.
Right.
Now, in the 79 version, the babysitter, she basically looks like a Temu Sissy Spacek.
Sure.
Yeah. She's got the braces. She looks like someone you would be comfortable, staying at your house and watching your children.
Yeah.
Here in this one, you just practically wow 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 wow.
Rachel Nichols is secretly in a Boogie Nights sequel.
Yeah, she's got like the hip huggers and the halter top, and they're just like taking her coat and like, all right, so we're gonna go out. I'm like, nope, you know what? I'm gonna stay home.
Yeah,
just because if you don't fucking know how to dress for babysitting, a 12-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 5-year-old, and she's just laying out on the kid's bed and asking them about French kissing, and then talking about how the little girl that lived there got her in trouble, and it's like, what? Like, am I supposed to feel good when she gets terrorized and apparently has some sort of psychotic break?
I feel like in this, yes. Gina, this has like late Friday the 13th disease where you're supposed to hate her. So therefore,
but why? She's a babysitter.
I know.
She's barely a minor character.
But she also stuffs a bong into her purse. A bong with water in it, Gina. Come the fuck on.
Like when the babysitter in the first one, it's scarier because she's like this nice girl
right.
that they hire to watch her kids, and and then this happens.
It's so weird. But I also feel like Rachel Nichols, who plays this character, might secretly be the only one who knows what the finished product is going to be. She's the only one tuned into that wavelength.
Well, yeah, she's definitely doing her thing with like a one eyebrow raised very high.
Yeah, she's like, I know this is hyper trash, and I'm gonna give you hyper trash, and it's weirdly enough like a relief, but it's also so confusing because she's unlike every other character. But also, she's the one who is most at home in the movie. Like, she looks both like she knows what America Online looks like, but, I don't know. It's really, it's unique. Let's put it that way. It's so confusing how this movie decides to present the order of events. And all of it just is breathlessly portrayed, but also so boring because you don't care about anybody.
No, because it's like, as you say, things just start happening so fast. And I think that's, one of the reasons, and obviously I'm not saying anything that no one's ever said before, but what makes Poltergeist such an effective movie is that you take some time getting to know these people. Yeah. And again, even in the first Amityville, you get more of a sense that, this is a new family.
Yeah.
And George, is both a little bit reluctant to take on these kids, but also, is trying to do his best by them too.
Yes. You sense the good intentions there. And in this one, good intentions is one scene in which he badly cooks eggs and is told that he fucking sucks. And you're like, okay, that is an interesting tension if you actually plan on making that a component of his neuroses, right, and then the house exploits those neuroses and you build tension. But when he goes crazy, exactly 20 minutes and 19 seconds into the film, you just all of a sudden it becomes Shining disease.
Yeah, but you already have this animosity between was Billy the oldest kid?
Yeah,
I
think so. Yeah,
like there's already this animosity there, and it's like, well, wouldn't it be more effective if they got along?
Right. It feels betrayed by him.
Right. It's like Billy already doesn't like him.
Billy doesn't like him. The other kids don't trust him. And so there's not much to violate.
Right. I mean, it would be more effective if I'm not saying I want to see him slapping kids around, but if he just exploded on one of them out of nowhere, right, and they already don't like him.
Yes.
So it's like you're taking out that dramatic element.
I feel like they want to build that into the wood chopping scenes where they build one on top of the other. But the film is so fucking ridiculous in between those scenes. It doesn't feel like a build at all. It feels like a breath, honestly. And so they're not tension filled. They're the least tension filled for some reason. And the movie can't quite decide from one moment to the next whether or not it just wants to be hyper trash or be taken seriously. And I think there's a big component of this, and maybe this was the original component, was this movie is desperate to be taken seriously.
Oh yeah, and poor Melissa George, she's trying.
I think they're all weirdly trying, but yes, she's trying.
She's trying. She's basically she closely studied Margot Kidder, and she's trying really hard, and it's not worthy of her.
No, and I think the original movie is more a balance between Margot Kidder and James Brolin because they were both of the same stature at the time. It's not like Ryan Reynolds then and Melissa George were vastly different in terms of making movies. They were both making movies. But this does feel much more like a Ryan Reynolds vehicle to a certain degree, which I think is unfair to both the movie and to Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
It's just there's a level of cartoonish behavior that no film can withstand if it in fact wants to be taken seriously. And if that's the case, you really can't add flashy editing tricks on top of that. There just has to be a reasonable, some sort of building creepy tone. And the film does not trust the audience. It just thinks you're stupid. It keeps telling you what you need to know instead of allowing you to pick up on what you need to know.
Right. And I think that was a big problem with early 2000s horror is, again, a lack of respect for the audience. Is we know these things make money. We know that the audience does not have high expectations going in.
And there's also this, I don't think the movie really knows what to do with the horror of the time. It feels like it's just gathering cliches from whatever is happening. It's the color changes of traffic in The Ring, and it's the flashy editing of the 7 opening credits, and it's a little bit of 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and maybe this will change on rewatch. I seem to remember that particular remake as it not wanting to fuck with the original that much, but simply presenting it in its own style. It didn't want to mimic the original so much as find a way to present it to a new audience. It felt a little more genuine. Whereas this, I feel like they're just throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks.
Right.
That being said, Andrew Douglas, or at least whoever is assembling the final product here, makes Marcus Nispel look like Jamie Colette Sarah. And if you're saying to yourself, well, Patrick, there's no difference between those two things, you're wrong. This movie grossed over $100 million, and this guy never made another major studio film. He is a one box office hit wonder. So that to me says this scared him out of the industry entirely.
well, as you say, it feels like there's a lot of studio interference.
Yeah. And so you just get this preponderance of events where the whole roof sequence practically feels like it belongs in a James Bond movie. And
that's like the big show-stopping moment in the movie. You've got that, and you've got the scene with the babysitter where, fine, the little girl, putting her finger in the bullet hole. I mean,
I'm okay with that.
That's creepy and creepy
it's
enough.
Visceral,
But
I'll give it that.
That's probably about the closest it gets to actually being scary.
Yes, as opposed to the visions of the murder basement, which seem like I was more scared by Dr. Giggles, to be honest with you. All of this seems like trying really hard.
Well, I mean, I'm going to say not to compare it to the original, but you have to because it's a remake.
And the only thing it's trying to do different is present things in the most hyper trash way possible.
Because the original, because it was so low budget, they couldn't show anything. Right. But it was still pretty effective. Like when they find that awful little secret room in the basement, and it's moist and there's things in there, and it's like, again, what you are imagining is way worse than some dude walking around, catch him and kill him. Right. And it's like, or like spelling out catch him and kill him with those little plastic letters that little magnetic letters that all kids have at some point. Right. And it's like, well, what if we actually showed everything that they saw in the house? Like, well, you don't have to.
Right. Again, there are things about that original, not that it's the world's greatest movie, but they're just things that it does well. And there's a reason why I think about the windowsill crashing down on that kid's fingers all the time. That feels real.
That feels more real than a little girl parkouring on the roof of their house and somehow not falling off and splitting her head open like a watermelon.
Yeah, the roof is too fucking steep for all of this to happen. And as much as I appreciate all the crane work going on here, it's not scary scary.
It's not, because obviously nothing's going to happen to the kid. You know, I mean, nothing's going to happen to her.
And in the original, something does happen to a kid. He gets his fingers fucked up. And like, I've had a fucked up finger. Becky has a fucked up finger. Like, that shit is visceral. And I don't.
Right, when that front door gets torn off in the middle of the night, that is scary, especially when they say, well, this was torn off from the inside. Yeah. And it's like, well, that shouldn't have happened. That shouldn't be happening. How did that happen?
There is no explanation for this. And yeah, like Philip Baker Hall shows up here trying to do this priest role. And he is too good for this movie in every way.
He's too good, and the character is absolutely superfluous. He, like I say, again, he doesn't show up until like the last quarter of the movie, does nothing.
Yeah, and there's like no establishment that Kathy's Catholic or that means anything.
She has any religious beliefs, which is a big aspect of the original.
Yes. So why is she so desperate for this? She has no relationship with this guy, and the movie does not want. They just want a fly scene. So fly in a priest, make him a named talent, and just show it already. And honestly, the best thing about that entire sequence is when Philip Baker Hall drives away and there's this jump scare of Ryan Reynolds behind Melissa George, and he grabs her and hugs her and says, "It's okay. I'm here." It's like, are you fucking Batman? The fuck just happened? But he looks so crazy, you would never go, "Oh, what a relief. My husband's come to help me this time." And the variation between his behavior inside the house to outside the house, where anytime he's outside the house, it's kind of like, actually, I feel great. This is the best I've ever felt. And then he gets one step inside. He's like, I'm going to murder everyone. It's kind of like, yeah, you'd leave. There's no way you'd stay if that's what was actually happening.
Right.
I think the aspect of this movie that made me hate it the most of all, Gina, where I felt, all right, this is a bridge too far, was that it provides a library microfiche scene, and I'm not happy.
There's not even any satisfaction.
I'm like, oh, it's here, everybody. It's a microfiche scene. She's going to learn all about it. And I'm just sitting there angry. Why is she the first person to discover that there was a murder basement in her house? Are you telling me they had this in multiple newspapers and history texts and no one had thought to say anything about this beforehand? It took a murder for her to investigate this shit? Oh my God. I just don't care for it. And I'm not trying to absolve the cast, but I think they're on a train they're not in control of. Like, the tracks are just what it's on. And all they could do is hang on for their dear lives and try their best. But I don't think there's any best they can give that would ever make the finished product.
No, because like I said, it's taken out of everybody's hands, taken out of the cast's hands, taken out of the director's hands. It's like, yeah, we need to make this slicker. We need to make this cooler.
Right. And it never builds any tension. That's the one thing about jump scares. I don't think they really work unless you do build tension. Whereas things like, Insidious that we've brought up before, or, while I'm not the biggest Paranormal Activity fan, I'm most recently, as of the recording of this, saw Paranormal Activity on stage. And so I'm walking into that going, well, I'm not the biggest fan. And I'm like, holy shit, this is actually teaching me how to consume this. And yes, there are jump scares and there's loud noises and there's magic tricks, but there's also a bunch of acting where these actors are nearly the only people on stage for 2.5 hours, and they are acting their fucking asses off. And it is emotional, and that's why it worked. Whereas if we're not allowed to see these performances and not allowed to feel their feelings and not given a reason to, it doesn't matter if you flash cut to eviscerated bodies or a guy cutting the string off his mouth sewn shut. Who is that guy? Where did he get a sharp stick Does he eat with that? Has he made friends with a rat? This is all I can think about.
Yeah, and it's just like images. Right. You know, like you know, here's a creepy image. Here's another creepy image. Are you scared yet? And it's like not really. No.
Yeah. They tortured at one point. Kathy goes back to Philip Baker Hall and's like after the library reveal, and she's like, "They tortured natives on my property, on my basement." Whoa. We want to take a take two on that one? On my basement? They left it in. They didn't have another take. On my basement. You know what's on your basement? The rest of your fucking house. What are we talking about here?
But yeah, you got like the scene with this little boy in the bathroom, and he's got a Victor Pascal in the bathroom with him, and it's like, why are you here? What are you doing?
Who are you?
Here?
Who's you? Is that supposed to be the DeFeo kid, I guess? Or is that...
Well, no, because he's just some like rando.
Oh, goodness gracious. I can't even keep
because
track.
There's been so many explanations on what's supposedly wrong with the ground that it was indigenous people left their sick and insane tribe members there, and this guy Ketchum was killing indigenous people, and it was like satanic worship, and it's like anything else,
right? Just add it to
all is one property. Maybe someone's playing with a Ouija board.
Oh, it's the only thing missing. We need a haunted doll. We need an Annabelle. We needed those two married grifters to show up and do a seance. Just do all the movies all in one. All we need is a haunted clock, a dollhouse, and a lamp. Just add it all to the mix.
There's so much. I mean, I don't know why it couldn't have been enough that Ronald DeFeo just went crazy, organically, killed his family, and then just the lingering bad vibes are what's doing it without this stupid Ketchum stuff.
And that the fact that all of the physical things about the house are the bleeding and all that, it's left to the last. I mean, it kind of is left to the last possible second in the original film, but you've built up the tension to this point where you're wondering what's going to be the breaking point. And the breaking point is the house yelling at them, get the fuck out, and them not listening hard enough. And in here, they're like, they keep running farther up into the house. It just... my favorite part of the entire movie is when Melissa George cracks Ryan Reynolds over the head with the butt of a shotgun. I'm like, fucking finally, something's happened. And then all of a sudden they know roping knots and they hog tie his ass to the point where the entire family hauls him on his back to the boathouse. They hog time like this is like Red Dead Redemption. It's just like, okay, why not? Not to mention the fact that they force Ryan Reynolds to like jump into the water shirtless so we just check out those cum gutters.
Get one more lingering look.
Yeah, just like, oh, look at this guy in wet pajama pants. Look how low they are. Like the mound of everyone's pubis is just right there. Which is, that was 2005, I guess, but it wasn't 1970, whatever the fuck this is supposed to be.
No, we did not have that many torsos on display in the early 70s.
And, then they, of course, make Ryan Reynolds kill the dog, but he was hallucinating Jody, but Jody's being manipulated by this other weirdo. And I don't care for it. I just don't care for it at all, Cheetah. It was such a monumental waste of time for its time. And then, God damn it, Hollis made this artwork for the other Amityville for the holidays. I'm like, that's too good.
We can't not use
I can't not use this artwork. And yeah, again, so this is like, it's been 20 years. Happy anniversary to this bullshit.
Yeah, that's the best way of happy anniversary to this bullshit.
I know people like us to yell at things every once in a while. But you do struggle to come up with anything other than, wow, this doesn't really work. And there's so many ways it doesn't work. I just wish I could lay the blame in any one particular direction. It just never should have been made. There's no point of view here at all.
Yeah, I mean, it should not be hard to make a haunted house movie. And yet there are so few good haunted house movies. You've got, The Haunting. I would say that the original Amityville is okay enough.
Yeah.
It has some good moments. And again, those good moments are in taking a page from The Haunting and leaving it up to your imagination as to what it is that they're seeing or what is actually happening. Yeah. And of course, the poltergeist, and I would also put in the original The Conjuring in there.
Yeah, I would put Insidious in there. I think Insidious.
Oh yeah. I actually rewatched Insidious around Halloween. It holds up pretty good.
I think mechanically, it's one of those things where it just kind of, if you don't care about those people and it's not done with the skill that it is done with, it wouldn't work. But it does give you reason to care. Those performances are genuine. There's real skill behind the camera, and they know what they want to do. It feels like it's built from the ground up. And from here, it's just like, the idea of the Amityville Horror, look at these windows. It spends almost no time looking at those fucking windows. That is the weird thing about this. It stops giving you establishing shots of the windows ghostly looking out at you. And it's just like, we told you it was the Amityville Horror. What do you care? And it's like, yeah, right. Why? What do I care? I guess in the end, I don't care much at all.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, they were there and they left.
It just, it starts with the day one and then it kind of gives up on telling you what day it is.
I think we're on day 15. You're like, fuck it. We don't know.
And then I think they finally give you the last day. It's like 3 times is enough. It's the rule of 3s. But yeah, I took meticulous notes up until the point where I could just, why? None of it's adding up to anything. And outside of the rare moment that it might not be good, but it might be great. It's just very rare that it reaches that level because it's so over the top. Why would I care if there's an over the top performance or situation?
I think that the little ghost girl is pretty effective looking. But when it starts losing me is when this little ghost girl is still being tormented by whatever it is in this house. It's like, why is she stuck there? What does she do?
Well, why would it just be the manifestation of whatever the fuck it is in the guise of this little girl, which is what the original kind of alludes to, is that Jodie's a bit of a shapeshifter. And frankly, I liked her better when she was a demonic pig.
Right. Because here it's like, well, is she, is she being manipulated by this Ketchum demon?
Yeah.
Is she in hell? Why is she in hell?
What she did fucking wrong?
Why is she still suffering? She's like a murdered child. But if they had gone with that she is insinuating herself with this little girl, but she's actually this whatever this malevolent force coming to the Lutz's little girl as a friendly face, again, that would be way more effective. Right. But no, instead we got this little girl who has been is a murdered ghost and is still being terrorized by the other demons in the ghost
just rocking a chair in the background, go, I'll never tell.
Exactly.
I have that movie. It's way better than this shit.
Like, it's kind of tragic when the Lutzes escape and then she's like, nope, I'm still here, but gets dragged to the floor, and it's like, God. It's like, well, what's that? What is my takeaway from there?
Yeah. Am I supposed to like this? Am I supposed to hate it? I don't.
Is this a satisfying ending?
Yeah, I don't care for this. Gina, it makes me feel bad.
No, I again, like one of these days we're going to have to do a breakdown of all the early 2000s and be like, okay, this was actually pretty good. And then this one's garbage.
Yes, I do think there is weight, and we have dived into that.
Well, yeah, no, some have been pleasant surprises. Yes. Like one that immediately comes to mind is House of Wax.
Yes.
And another one was The Crazies.
Yes. The Crazies, which I believe this screenwriter also wrote the screenplay for that. So
really?
Yes. So it's not like the man had no skill. Like, I do think it's one of those things where it does. The Crazies has a point of view, and the director's able to do that. And the performances, again, are on point. And it is just a story well told. It's obviously different from the original in many, many ways, but it is telling an interesting story in an interesting way. And you get a lot of family dynamics. The tension in there is, can this family actually remain intact with all this getting so wild? It's just one of the better remakes. And we will get to it, folks. Absolutely. But yes.
The rare one that to me, it's far better than the original.
Yeah. Yes. In almost every way, outside of just the fact that the idea is so potent. And I think it carries on the idea in a way that really, makes that legacy count for something. I think it's in taking that in and going, what is the core of this story, and how can I make a new generation really interested in this, and finds a way to do that. But yes, we have to tread also carefully amongst the 2000s, although we've stepped into it in terms of Saw. So how much longer before we dare brave something? Well, no, I'm not doing Hostel. Fuck that.
No.
Hostel.
No.
Okay. So we're avoiding. So we'll just fuck Hostel. But there's other things in the.
If we're gonna try doing good early 2000s, we could do like The Ruins
and the Ring. Obviously, I think is a real crystallization of that original. I don't hate the American remake of The Grudge. I think there's stuff to be done there. We haven't done a ton of ghost stuff. And I guess some of that was like, are we ever going to do a ghost season? And I'm still not convinced we need to do a ghost season.
Well, ghost seasons, a lot of times in ghost movies, there aren't, we might have to put aside Choose Your Own Death.
Right. Yeah.
Because there aren't, if there are a lot of deaths, it's usually either off screen or just hallucinated. Mm-hmm. So very few people actually are killed in these movies.
Well, speaking of people who are actually killed, this movie does have enough deaths that one.
Yeah, but it's all like shot.
You've got three choices here. You can get killed with a gun. You can get axed to death in a boathouse, or you can be tortured to death in a basement. What say you? Yeah,
and even still, none of these are major characters.
No, they're just simply deaths portrayed on screen. Yeah, but if the game can be played, but only if barely.
I guess I'll take shot because some of them were asleep when it happened. Yeah. So, I don't know why I've got like Studio 54 lighting happening in my house, but
how could any of them sleep through that?
I'm definitely not sleeping through. I'm definitely not sleeping through that.
That's wild, but okay, sure, why not? Folks, this is the end of the year for us. We're going to take our usual 1 week break off, where we're going to give you something special here at the end of the year, from the Patreon. But 2025, while it hasn't really been a good year, we've enjoyed talking about horror movies, and hopefully you've enjoyed listening to us talk about them. We've definitely talked about some good movies and had wonderful guests. And of course, we thank you for listening. First and foremost, we thank every listener for taking time out of their lives to allowing us to rant and rave about this bullshit, and you supposedly enjoying it. As such, if you find it in your heart to support us on Patreon, we'd love that because we are going to bring you lots of bonus material over there in addition to our main feed stuff here. And we'd love that. Or you can rate, review us on iTunes to help us be seen and heard by more people. Talk back to us on Spotify or YouTube. As a way to talk back to us, we have our Discord server as well, where you can talk about a bunch of things, including new episodes, old episodes, and just what's happening. We have a Facebook group. Follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, or Threads as well. Gina, where can people see and hear more from you?
I write about pop culture and current events at my newsletter, GinaWatchesThings.ghost.io, and I am on most social medias under Gina Does Things.
Don't worry, folks. In 2026, there will be more of a body count, including re-releasing our Friday the 13th franchise look back. Where I'm trying to go back and trying to boost the audio as much as I possibly can with the files we have available to us. So they're never going to be as good as what we have currently. But I'm trying to make them sound as best as possible. So that people who maybe are Johnny come latelys or newer to the podcast who have never gone back that far, you can listen to them and not feel like your brain's exploding. So those will be coming out on Tuesdays. Let me know if that's okay with you, that we're not clogging your feed. Hopefully not. But I'm trying to do it so that they're a better quality rather than what we had available in 2016. So there's that. But there's more new episodes that are coming. Lots of fun new guests. Lots of fun movies that we're going to be discussing and continuing to talk about Stephen King movies along the way. Hopefully you'll join us in the new year. The body count will continue for myself and for Gina. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.